What's going on, you guys? You're looking at the 2008 Shelby GT500, and I'm going to show you everything you need to know about this car. Before we get into it, big thank you to Prestige Motorworks in Concord, North Carolina for giving us this vehicle to review. So let's start with the most interesting part of this car, and it's the fact that for in the $30,000 to $40,000 range, you get one of the coolest engines ever. And I say that because under this hood is a 5.4 liter supercharged V8 that makes 500 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque. Now, the reason why I say that's so cool is because name another car in the $30,000 to $40,000 range where you get this much power. You can do 0 to 60 in this car in 4.3 seconds and the quarter mile in the mid-12s. Now, a big flaw with this car is the fact that it weighs 4,000 pounds. This is not something that you'd end up taking to the track or really going on mountain runs at all. This is just something that you hop on a straight road or on the interstate and go fast. Another big reason why the 2008 and 2009 Shelby GT500s are so cheap, figuratively speaking, is because if you step up to the 2010 model, that makes 540 horsepower as opposed to just 500. If you step up to the 2013 model, you get 662 horsepower, which makes that version a lot more appealing. But you're going to be paying way more money, and that's what makes me absolutely love this version of the GT500, because you get insane performance for an actually affordable price. And this GT500 is for sale right now. It only has 17,000 miles on it and is $39,000. Seriously, this has to be one of the cheapest access to high performance that I've ever seen. Now let's take a look at the exterior design of this car. This part is a little bit controversial because it's really just up to your own personal taste. This is the S197 model, and you either like it or you don't. For me, I like the S550 versions a little bit more, but I think this is much more true to the muscle heritage of Mustang. So first of all, you get a massive hood in the front here with two heat extractors to help your engine stay cool, and these engines, if you really do push them, can run into some heat issues. On the front end of this car, you get a 2-level grille setup, which allows for a good amount of cooling to this engine bay. And one of my favorite parts about the front ends of these cars, you could probably guess it, it's this big snake badge that you get off to the side in this car. And you also get a nice little splitter at the bottom here. My one complaint about this car is there is not a whole lot that's different about the front end of this other than just the hood and the snake badge that you get right here. That is likely partially the reason why these are not going for that much money. You get a lot of performance, but you don't get a whole bunch of looks. Now let's check out the side of this car, and I think the side actually looks better than the front end because there's a lot more stuff done to it that makes it special as compared to just a Mustang GT. So for these tires here, you get 18-inch wheels, and the tires are going to be 245 in width. All of the power is sent to the back, so the tire sizes in the front don't really matter too much. Right in the center of your wheels, you get SVT, and as for brakes, you get 4-piston brakes in the front. Again, this car weighs 4,000 pounds and is extra fast, so this definitely needs good braking power. Now off to the side here, just like on the brand new Shelby GT500 we reviewed, you get this nice snake on the side. Whenever you see that on the side of a Mustang, you know you're looking at a GT500. This goes back all the way to the 2000s, and you even get GT500 as a decal spelled out right on the side of the car. So now you can see the entire side profile of this car, and yeah, it really doesn't look too crazy, especially in this color, but that snake badge and the GT500 decal on the side are really what makes the side of this car look good. Now in the back here, you're also going to have 18-inch wheels, but these tires are 275 in width, and same thing with your brakes in the back here. These are 4-piston brakes, which do the job for the vehicle. And also, as you go to the back of this car, you can see this decal continues all along the side of the car. Now the back of the 2008 GT500 does look really good. I will say it's nowhere near as good as the newer models, but you still get a lot of different stuff back here as compared to the GT. So you have a Shelby badge right on the side. You have a pretty massive spoiler on the back of this thing. You get a Shelby GT500 badge right in the center here. And also these taillights, I kind of like more than the S550s. I don't know what it is about them, but I just think they look really good. In the back here, you're also going to have a nice diffuser and a dual tip exhaust system that actually sounds pretty decent. Take a listen to this. Now that we're inside of the 2008 GT500, let's take a look at everything you get inside of here. So right when you open up the door, you'll notice that the door panel is actually very, very lame. You're going to see this interior is actually not that special, but there are a few nice touches to this. On the door sill, you get SVT, which is very cool. And by the way, if you're wondering, SVT stands for Special Vehicle Team, and they helped make these older Shelbys. Now, the floor mats in here are very cool. They say GT500 and have the Shelby logo right where your feet go. And these seats are pretty nice. They're fully leather, and you also get a nice darked out Shelby badge right below your headrest in this car. Now, when you do take a seat in here, you'll notice that the steering wheel is just meh. It's very large, it's leather, which is nice. You do get the Shelby GT500 logo and badge right in the center of your steering wheel, but it's definitely older. And I absolutely love this old school analog gauge cluster. I think it looks so good. You get 160 on the dash, which, by the way, this car has zero issues hitting 160 miles an hour. It is fast. And on the RPM gauge, you get a red line of 6,000 RPM, which honestly is a little bit low, especially when you compare it to the new GT500. However, this is just a muscle car, and so having a lower RPM in something like this is actually not that bad because it gives you quicker access to 500 horsepower. I will say there is something about higher revving cars that just are so good. Now, when you take a look at the center console in here, the first thing you'll notice is a manual transmission. These only come in manual, and the new GT500s only come with a dual clutch automatic transmission. I did make a review on that car, so check it out after this one. But that is what makes this car very, very cool. You can't get a newer Shelby with a manual, but this one you can, and so it makes this one a little bit more appealing. However, there is one major issue that this car experiences, and when you're really, really pushing this vehicle and you try to shift, it can kind of lock you out of gears. I've seen that these cars have zero issues with shifting when you're driving normally, but once you start to push it, it can give you some trouble. So this car is not $35,000 just for no reason. It's cheap for a reason. This engine is not the most reliable, and this manual transmission can give you some troubles. But again, you pay for what you get. This is a deal as long as nothing explodes. Now, when you look behind the shifter, you see there's really nothing special. It's just plastic. You get two cup holders, your parking brake, and then you get a little storage space that is wrapped in leather, which is nice and pretty big if you want to store stuff in there. And when you look right above your center console, you'll see that this vehicle is absolutely from 2008. There is nothing that will hide that. You get a bunch of plastic, old school buttons, which is understandable. I would rather have that instead of this car trying to be all fancy and cost $20,000 more. I will say, with all the cars we've reviewed, it's very strange to not see an infotainment system in here. It looks odd, which means no backup camera, by the way. And when you look at the dash of this car, you'll see this kind of cool material and pattern, and you also get this really nice Shelby plaque that is signed by Shelby himself. That is awesome. Now, this car does have back seats, but I would not recommend taking 4 adults in here on a long road trip. That would not be comfortable. And in this interior, you also get a massive roll bar because this is a convertible, so if this thing flips, you probably don't want your head taken off. All in all, this is one of the coolest cars in the $30,000 to $40,000 price range, in my opinion. Let me know if this is something you would buy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.